Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As ladies and gentlemen, the crypto market has had an aggressive pullback recently. But what I can tell you is this. I have an overhead view of the market sentiment at this moment in time. We are in a bull market, as you all know. But a lot of you are wondering, Bull, is this retracement over? Bull, what happened to $1 XRP? Why did XRP crash all the way to 55 cents? This was nothing more than a healthy pullback that helped confirm to me that we are going to continue on our uptrend. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I was getting a little nervous. I really was. I was looking at the market as if it was a little overheated, despite my conviction that an ETF was going to be approved and that we are going to be bullish in the coming days. But guys, if what we just saw was a flash crash liquidation, a healthy pullback in a longer term bull run, oh my goodness, we're about to explode after this moment. I promise you this is not hype. This is not meant to give you FOMO. This is my genuine opinion on the market. Even while Bitcoin did crash, and so did some others, look at the cryptos that are still up on the day. These are nothing more than healthy entry points for some cryptos you may have wanted to get into, and there are plenty of cryptos that I've been recommending that are still at great entry points at this moment in time. And because of this pullback, you're likely to get more ROI from it. There are some high risk hidden gems that I absolutely believe are bull run warning cryptos that I've been recommending on my OnlyFans at onlyfans.com/thebearablebull. But people, when they see an opportunity like this, they won't act. Guys, if you're not in the market right now, or if you have some standby capital that you're looking to utilize but are nervous to get in, this is one of those times you get in. This is one of those times you double up. This is one of those times you take action. I certainly did. I got an entry point in XRP with a fiat position recently, and you guys are going to get an opportunity to get a better entry point than I just did. But this is what I want you all to get out of this. Our time is almost here, and we are right on schedule for the first week of 2024 to be special in regards to the altcoin market, and especially in regards to XRP. Because once XRP passes $1 again, I can only imagine the compound effect of all its price suppression, the compound effect of being over $1 with no SEC lawsuit hanging over us. And part of the reason I'm so excited for this bull run and some change is because 2024 is the most likely year of a seismic black swan event that changes the nature of how we operate.
Mine's a little dark. I just feel a lot of concern that 2024 may be the year of a black swan event. This is a national security event with high impact that's very hard to predict. There are a number of concerns that I have that factor into that. Not only this sort of enduring heightened threat level that we're facing, the wars in Israel, also Ukraine. And we're so divided in this country in ways that we haven't seen before. And I think that just creates fertile ground for our adversaries like North Korea, China, and Iran. And that's what concerns me most.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can clearly see with BRICS expanding January 1st, with lists being disclosed that I cannot mention here on YouTube, with numerous countries heightening tensions, with the likelihood of China moving on Taiwan happening this year likely, with U.S. political division because of elections likely to take place. You need to realize that this is a moment in time where something massive will occur. This is what the adults in the room are focused on while they distract you with whether or not Gary will approve an ETF. And you need to have an overhead view of the chessboard before you can really think that you're going to make money on crypto. You need to understand how these people play the game and how the world works. And until you do, you're always going to be a couple steps behind.
That I would say to people, what makes the dollar the world reserve currency? You know, in 1971, it was delinked to gold when Nixon closed the gold window, and it was backed by nothing. A few years later, there was a deal struck between Henry Kissinger and the Saudi kingdom that, hey, we're going to protect you, but for that protection, you're going to value oil globally in U.S. dollars. The synthetic demand that has been created for dollars over the last 50 years is a byproduct of the protection of the Saudi kingdom. And so when you see Saudi Arabia and OPEC pushing back and signing all of these agreements to join the BRICS and to join this growing union of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the largest regional military organization in the world, in essence, you have the linchpin of the dollar hegemony being called into question. And I guess I would simply say that when you stop using the dollar for settlement, little by little by little, we see all of these countries like Ethiopia, as a general said, yeah, I mean, in and of itself, what does it really matter? It's another chop at the dollar hegemony. It's also the fastest growing economy in Africa. And Venezuela has now formally applied to the BRICS. They have the largest known oil reserves in the world, little by little by little by little, and bang, all at once, when there's an admission by Saudi Arabia and OPEC that, look, you guys signed an executive order to go green. We respect that. Thanks for the 50 years. But listen, we're joining with all of our brothers and sisters on the Belt Road Initiative. We've decided to join the BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And this is a group of countries that aren't going green and represent the majority of human population. So when that happens, when people no longer need to hoard dollars to buy oil, that synthetic demand dies. And what happens when those dollars are then dumped in favor of something else? Those dollars hit our shores in a tsunami of inflation, creating hyperinflation, which the byproduct of that is our interest rates that spike to the moon. And so when you talk about the potential of a reset, the reason that I feel that this is happening is that, look, we have a situation that is untenable in terms of the path that we are on. And, you know, people say, well, we can inflate or we can default, or how about option number 3, find a villain? And that villain would be Xi Jinping and Putin and OPEC. And how could they do this to us? And you point to a villain that has forsaken the dollar, that has destroyed everything, destroyed the economy. And I think that is really interesting when you realize that the lead economic advisor to the United States government is a man named Jared Bernstein, whose whole thesis is to lose the world reserve status because it's a privilege we can no longer afford. So you weaponize the dollar, you sanction 2 of the BRICS countries in Iran and in Russia, and then you sign an executive order to go green, push away the linchpin of the dollar hegemony. It is a much bigger deal than people understand. And so while we may not see a reserve currency come up anytime soon, maybe it'll take a few years, a robust, well-funded liquid bond market that has trust, but what you will see is a continuation of settlement being chosen in other currencies, whether it be a unified currency or local currencies. The lack of settlement in U.S. dollars, where 20% of global oil supply was sold in other currencies this year, will at some point start to wreak havoc on the reserve status of the U.S. dollar. It is a very big deal, one that most people can't get out of the way of because they don't even see it coming.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I need to make abundantly clear is there is an active global coordinated movement to go away from the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. And while a lot of the FUD around the U.S. dollar is overstated, and while I don't think the dollar is going to collapse today or in the immediate future, it will inevitably happen. There will be turmoil revolving the U.S. dollar. Oil versus the green agenda. That is something else at play that a lot of people aren't thinking about. All these things combined lead to the perfect storm. And I'm going to cap off this video for today by letting you know why the price of XRP hasn't risen yet with all this knowledge of the financial system in place. Most people assume that partnerships being made instantly means that the price should rise, or collaboration means everything is digital now, so price should move, and that is not a reality. When switching over to a new financial system, a company must hold both systems, which incurs further costs, deeper operational needs, and causes a company to backslide until the situation finds its footing. Then you see growth, and that is the stage we've been in. Ladies and gentlemen, the move away from the US dollar as the world reserve currency and the world settlement system through SWIFT, it's going out the door. Countries are no longer standing for being sanctioned out of the world economy. And as this happens, as this occurs, we are reaching a climax of a moment where one system will die and a new one will take its place. I believe XRP will be at the heart of that new system. And guys, I hope all of you begin understanding how this is going to work. Just because the price has been relatively stagnant does not mean we are wrong. I do believe the price will rise in the coming days, but that's besides the point. It's about what XRP is destined to do into the future and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. And if you haven't done so already, I would highly recommend you pivot over to the offline hardware wallet I'll be using to store my crypto now. Ledger has completely let me down, and Decent is a crypto with more options to store different tokens on it. I'm unbelievably impressed with their security, technology, and optionality in regards to what tokens you can store. And I believe at the very least, if you don't have at least one different wallet aside from Ledger, this is the wallet I would highly recommend using for maximum crypto security. Now guys, if you want a discount link, that link will be down in the description below. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
That may be a little bit. So I think absolutely. I think 2 years ago, banks were interested in experimenting with technology and maybe seeing what the value could be. We don't actually talk to a bank anymore that needs to be convinced they need to digitize. And it is because of two things. One, from efficiency, but also from fraud reduction and for growth, et cetera. Because it must be hard to realize this, but even though global trade has grown tremendously in the last few decades, trade finance revenues haven't. And a lot of that is because they haven't moved on with the times. Their product is really hard to access. So corporates are more and more saying, I don't want to deal with giving all this paper. Just give me a regular line of credit facility. Give me something simple. Even if that's less money or less growth capital, I'll take it because it's not worth the pain. So I think banks have now realized that. But I think for the corporates, I think what they need to now think about is, how do I change my process? And that's sort of this next world, because everyone wants the end state. Everyone wants everything to be digitized. But the middle state, where a little bit of it's digitized, some other parts of this value chain haven't fully got there yet, that's challenging because it may not even be more efficient to start. So you have to actually get worse sometimes before it gets better. And that's a really bad sales pitch. But that is a bit of the expectation setting. I think a lot of things have to happen. And I think more people are sort of realizing that now and are sort of getting on with the journey. And they're saying, yes, I understand it's not a silver bullet, it's not perfect, but it's more understood, and they're willing to sort of keep pushing ahead in the midst of that. I don't know if you're seeing the same.